What's up, guys? It's been forever since I've made a massive video for you guys. I mean, my last few videos have been about other topics and such, but it's been a while since I've shown you guys a massive sound, or I'm not too sure what my last few videos were, but it seems like forever. So glad to be doing this again, and I'll be doing weekly videos all week long. Just this last weekend, I was kind of catching up on a lot of projects and stuff, so just couldn't upload any videos. Okay, whatever. So you've heard the sound. I'm not too sure how to describe it. It's kind of reminiscent of like sound design that's similar to like making growl sounds. Because if I bring the rate down here on my macro all the way down, it starts to sound like a growl sort of thing. So I guess it's more of like a electro house growl wobble. I don't know it's not really a wobble at all. No, it's not. So it's funny when I make sounds, I really just don't know how to describe them sometimes, because sometimes I'm just making things to ear and not really focusing on what it is, or I don't really try to start labeling things before I know what it is. Which it's funny because after I'm done with it, I don't even know what it is then. But whatever. That's just my nonsense. So let's start off into this, because there's a lot of things going on. I want to keep this video sort of short. So what you guys will do is go new sound, and then go voicing. Have this at 16 where it is like always. Bring this up to 3. Click on mono rate, and have the trigger on always. And pan position and pitch cutoff are all the way to the left. Even pitch cutoff it's not slightly off to the right slightly. No, it's all the way to the left. And let's see. Now let's jump into our oscillation tab here. So we're gonna turn on the restart via gate, which pretty much just starts the waves in the same spot every time a new note is triggered, which means like every time I press a note, like if this is off, what'll happen is that each of these waves might start playing and triggering at in different spots. So what that might look like is like something like this. Like let's say this is how I created a patch. So this is a sine wave. This is like a saw ramp wave or something like that. If I keep playing notes over time, like really quickly, what might happen is this kind of thing might start happening, and the notes will start off in different places, and you'll get cool sounds like that too, which is fine. I mean, maybe it won't be that drastic, but it'll be like very slight. Now, if you turn this on, the way each of these waves will start in the same place always, so it makes the sound more efficient and more clean, which is sometimes not what you want, but in this case that's kind of what I wanted. So without it, and then with it, actually let me show it with the rate up. So that's really up to you guys. It's not a big overall quality. You can have this on or off just to your preference. It's not going to affect the sound at all, other than the way it triggers. So, and also I like to point out that you can play around with also where it starts. So I can have oscillator 1's wave start at 90% phase or degrees or whatever this is. Actually, it's phase. And then same with all these. See, that sounds really cool. I mean, I've gotten really neat sounds just using this. Holy shit. I mean, right now, I'm not even going to change that because, I don't know, it sounds cool. See? Just like, that's the thing about Massive and every other synthesizer. If you know what everything does, or most things, the things you can create will just be so much better because you'll just have so many other tools to use to create a sound. So like this is not something that I see a lot of people use inside of Massive. Also, these internal envelopes, I don't see a lot of people using these. In most of these banks here and inside of Massive, I'll kind of explain what these are really quick because I brought it up. You can see for the LFOs and the oscillator tab, you have internal envelopes. So it's pretty much an envelope that you can use inside of this parameter. So I can, have an attack and decay like this, and then just use it inside of this box, on parameters or on other things out here. I think I'm not sure if it'll let me use it on these things. Yeah, so it's only for this, but that's pretty helpful, So okay, I kind of went over that. If you guys want to copy this down too, cool. You don't have to. I mean, I'm doing a slightly different sound, but again, you can just have all these at 0 with this on, and you'll get the sound you heard at the beginning of the video. So nothing has changed. And the glide, I just put a little bit amount of glide so that I can glide to notes. So I'll play like an F and a A sharp. So, a little bit of glide's cool. So, okay, you get the point. And let's see, for envelope 4, I didn't do anything there. So we're sort of done with all this stuff right here in the middle. So let's move on to oscillators. So I'm going to go through this kind of quickly because I know you guys pause the video when you guys need to. So I'll just show you that this oscillator right here is mellow fent or something like that. I'm not really sure how to say that. And this is just 1 octave down. And you can see where all these are. Wavetable position is just a little bit down from all the way up. So it's not all the way up, but it's almost there. And oscillator 2 is a chrome, which is one of my favorite starting points. When I'm making a new sound, I like to play around with chromes or carbon waves. Just like those are good starting points to make interesting growls and bass sounds. And this is down an octave. These are up all the way. Wavetable positions all the way down, but then I drop in a macro over here, and then I brought it up all the way to the right. And you can see down here in my macro that says wavetable position 2, or it should be 2 wavetable position because it's whatever. So you can see that I have this up all the way. So if you guys watch this macro down here, you'll see. You can see that little macro changes so much of the sound, but I'm going to leave it all the way up right here just so that you guys get the sound that I showed you in the beginning of the video. And for oscillator 3, it's a Digicook 2, and what you guys might have noticed or might have missed is that all these waves are digital hybrid waves. So oscillator 1 was a mellow fent or something like that. Oscillator 2 was a chrome, which is down here somewhere. Where the hell is it? I know I'm passing over it probably. Here it is. And then oscillator 3 is a Digicook 2. Why I'm bringing that up is because if you guys want to make growly or like wobbles or basses that have this kind of characteristic, start with these kind of waves, digital hybrid waves, because those are the waves that get you those sounds. And if you guys want to make like super saws, then use these saw waves and square waves, because that's what you would use for that. And for analog type of things, I guess grab it from here, but these aren't really a great example of analog waves, because analog waves are pretty much these, because these are in every oscillator ever. But whatever. So I just kind of brought that up to bring that to your attention, you guys, that if you guys ever, it seems like there are a lot of waves inside of, or different type of wave types and for the oscillators in Massive, but once you really break it down into what each category does, it really seems like there's a lot less. Anyway, so Digicook to bring this down 2 octaves, and so right here, and then wavetable and intensity and amp, you see where those are, get those down, and that's pretty much it. And if I turn all these off and just show you guys what the modulation oscillator is doing by itself, if you guys have filtering and modulation oscillator and noise and feedback on, you don't even need oscillators to get a sound out of massive. Sometimes I've created sounds just using this. So just kind of bringing that up, that you guys don't even have to use these all the time. This can just be sort of like a FM sort of thing if you use this. Okay, so I'll show you guys what I did here. In ring mod, I just put it on oscillator 1 and it's right down the middle. And then on oscillator 3, I have a little bit phase, which is right down the middle also, and that's pretty much it. And you guys can copy this down for noise and for feedback. And you guys can play around with the feedback if you want. So you can have it up more. So you guys can play around with that. I kind of leave, the sound is very open-ended. Like, you can just change so many parameters and get so many interesting possibilities. But yeah, so I kind of had mine at pointing at A, so you guys can get that down. And let's see, I'm gonna do inserts first, then filters, which is kind of like doesn't make a lot of sense because filters naturally comes before inserts unless you route them before it, but whatever. So let's see, insert 1 is sample and hold, so pitch is up all the way, dry wet's kind of around here, and insert 2 is a parabolic shaper, and that's pointing over here and here. And now I'll move on to filters. So we're gonna leave this on parallel so that both of these are playing at the same time. So this line is playing at the same time as this line, and then they're meeting over here. And that's kind of how that works. And serial would be filter 1, then it goes down here, through here, and then filter 2, and then to the master. I mean, not that this routing matrix is very complex, but that's kind of what's going on under the hood with this sort of thing. So we're just going to leave it down here so both of these are playing at the same time. And let's do, for filter 1, it's a scream. So cutoff and scream are both right down the middle, and we're just going to drop in LFO 5 right here into both of these and drag it up to those points, and then reso slightly down. And then filter 2 is a daft. So cutoff is over here, dragging that LFO 5 again, and reso slightly down. And for our LFO, it's just a triangle and a sine wave. So kind of just make sure you guys got this lined up. It's similar to this. And I like using the sync on too, but I do prefer to have sync off so I can drop in a macro and then, you know, be able to play around with the rate. So I kind of, you guys are gonna have to do this by ear because I definitely had to do the same too. What I would recommend is so watch this macro over here. I have it all the way up like that, and what I do is when I'm trying to set that to its final position is I'll go way too far up, and I'm just gonna leave this macro right there all the way up, and I'm gonna drag it down until I find a place that I like it to. And usually I'll play my drums while doing that so I can sort of sync it together. So I'll sync it together so you guys can hear that. And let's see, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this down and try to get my drums in this to match on the rate and figure out what's a good point, because if I just have it like this, when I'm playing around with that, that's just not going to be good for me. So let me do that. So you guys kind of might not understood what I was saying before I showed you this, because I kind of explained it in a really weird way. But I do that to set the rate in this final position so that when I'm playing around with this knob over here, I know that if I bring it up all the way to the right on my keyboard, on my knob here, I know it's going to sound good, and I don't have to worry about trying to always figure out a weird place. Like if this yellow bar was up all the way, then I would have to figure out where this rate is, and it'd be really weird. So that's why I like to do it like that. And so, okay, I spent a lot of time talking about that, so I'm going to wrap this up now. So FX is just a classic tube, and you guys just get that down real quick. Just pause the video if you need to. I'm moving on to Dimension Expander now, so you guys can see where those are. Pause it if you need to right now. Okay, I'm moving on to EQ, and I just brought the high shelf up slightly. So that's pretty much it for this sound. It's a pretty interesting sound, and I hope you guys like it. I'm going to be doing daily videos on Inside of Massive and Silent all week long. This weekend I didn't get a chance to, but whatever. So thanks guys for watching.